let's get to Najee's list. Let's get to Najee's greatest centers of all time in the NBA. That spans back 50 years, 60 years. I mean, however far back you want to go with centers. I mean, if you think about it, just think that there was a lot of centers in the league, but there's only 10 on Najee's list that made that top 10. And Najee, I'm going to have you start by telling us a little bit about your list before you start naming some of the names off of it. How did you come to certain things with this list?
Well, the top dogs is like historically great that the numbers and the accolades is so high that nobody's catching them. So like for example, with Wilt's numbers, that's numbers that nobody's catching. I don't care how great this player or players is going to be coming to the league. And then of course, there's more teams in the league now than there were, you know, 50, 60, 70 years ago. So there's no way for you to even say that somebody's going to average 50 points for a season. Nobody's averaging 50 points for a season ever again. I think the most Jordan ever did was like 38. And Jordan was the best scorer ever. When we're talking about the way how he scored in every type of way of the game. You have, of course, you have the 100-point game. Nobody's beating stuff like that. You have people that average like 25 rebounds for a season. Like people are not beating those type of statistics. Nobody. So when you talk about the accolades, you talk about the stats, then you talk about just the pure dominance of which era each player is in. There's nobody beating at least the top three. At least top three. Nobody's beating the top three of my list.
Absolutely. Looking at the list, it looks like you actually brought in and named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as your number one pick. Give us a little bit of background on why you picked Kareem as number one.
So of course he has two. He's won with two separate franchises with the Bucks with Oscar Robertson, and then he won 5 with Magic. So he has all those. He was the top scorer for like 38 years. I'm not even 38 yet. So he's had before LeBron eclipsed him and by far beat him now. Like he had that record for almost 40 years. Then you talking about just how he was beating them on other teams. Like then of course he's probably the best college player that ever played either. So he has the peak of numbers because he also played 20 years. So he had the steady, consistent numbers of his whole career, the pure dominance of the league. Because from what I was told, because of course he played, before I was, born, that he was basically the face of the league for a good minute before he finally, started to play with Magic. So you mean to tell me he has peak numbers? He has accolades because he has just as many championships as Jordan. He has more season MVPs than Jordan. And he has everything that a player will want when he talking about just pure dominance of every accolade and stat that any player wants, not even just centers. Like he's the complete player of a center that you will want when it comes to just numbers overall. And then you talking about longevity, playing for any franchise, because the one thing you would want on your team, your franchise, is for somebody to not only be on your team, be consistent, but also just be like long term, like playing, give me 15, 16, 20 years. That's what any franchise will want.
Yeah, I would say that sky hook from Kareem was deadly, man. I mean, that sky hook he had, literally, he was so tall and long. Other players would try to come up on him, and it was kind of, to me, he would put that right arm out to just keep distance between him and the other player, and he just dumped that sky hook. You could tell he put a lot of practice into that sky hook, which made him famous.
And he's already 7'2".
And he's already 7'2", exactly.
But then you flip the ball so high, there's nobody blocking it.
Nobody could block it. Yeah, I didn't see very many people block it or, reject it. Isaiah, what do you think about Kareem being at number one?
I mean, I couldn't argue that. Nobody could argue that, man, because I'm just listening to what you guys are saying and just anticipating on my turn to say something about it because, man, he was phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Because one
Exceptional.
thing neither one of you guys fail to say is not only he can shoot that hook so well, he was a fantastic passer. He passed the ball
Yeah.
behind his back and he would throw the ball between people's legs. And I mean, he's still an open guy, and he didn't try to take every shot he could or try to slam every moment he can. He got everybody else involved in the game as well. So, man, he just was a well-rounded athlete, man. And I mean, not just with basketball. People don't realize that Kareem was a black belt in karate as well, man. I
Yes,
mean,
he was.
remember him playing in movies and
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But
He
Yeah, he
was
was
too.
in movies with Bruce Lee, actually,
yeah,
at the
Bruce.
time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was very talented. He was very athletic. He came out of
yep,
UCLA. His name was Lou Alcindor before he changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
yeah,
And let me tell you something. When he was in college, he was just as dominant because with John
yeah,
Wooden to be the greatest, one of the
Mm-hmm.
greatest college coaches of all time in the history of the NCAA, Kareem was part of that success to bring UCLA the respect, because a lot of West Coast teams back then, they didn't get a lot of respect from the East. Most of the
yeah,
East, teams came out of New York. There were a lot of teams starting to come out of the South, but the West was still, everybody looked as though the West didn't have a strong backbone in basketball. But UCLA changed that whole dynamic, I would say, because you had Kareem that was leading UCLA to all of those national championships, bringing in all those trophies. So I totally agree. That number one pick is exceptional, Najee. That number one pick is exceptional. So let's go to number two, Wilt Chamberlain. What made you come to a conclusion that Wilt Chamberlain is number two?
Oh, he just with the just one of what I was saying, just the dominance of numbers he had. Like, bro, like he played in the sport. It seems like he was playing toddlers. Like he was blocking everything. He was rebounding everything. Like he was basically like the he was like the cheat code in the NBA when he played. The only thing that stopped him in his career was the Boston Celtics as a group to stop him in the finals. That was the only thing. Nobody could stop this man. When he was on the court, he for sure was getting 40, 50 points every game. If you look at just the numbers between Jordan, which was supposed to be the best scorer of all time when it comes to scoring in any type of way, to looking at Wilt Chamberlain's numbers, like with just look at those numbers, who scored the most 40-point games, and Wilt Chamberlain by far beat the crap out of him. Like he was averaging 50 points per game, and it's shocking to see that he didn't even get the season MVP that year. Like how somebody averaged 50 points, you're guaranteed to get 50 points every time you stepped on the court, and you didn't get MVP that year. They gave it to if I'm not mistaken, they gave it to Bill Russell, if I'm not mistaken. And he only averaged like 15 points, but he did average like 23 rebounds. But he was also on the Boston Celtics, that really actually had a freaking vice grip on the league.
I think that
Well,
was the year they should have given it to him, Najee.
It's crazy, man. I'm like, bro, if you like, as long as LeBron, Jordan, Kobe that's played 20 plus, well, except for Jordan, he played 15, but LeBron and Kobe that's played 20 plus years in the season, he still has them in numbers by far because he played his seasons like on steroids. Like if he only
yeah,
played a certain amount of years, it's on strictly steroids because everything was high peak numbers. So
sure.
when he actually finally did slow down as an older player, like the numbers still stay high. It's crazy, man. He had too many seasons that he averaged over 30. If I'm not mistaken, he averaged 30 for his career. I was actually surprised to see if it was that low for him to average 50. That means his numbers was that freaking high for his whole career for him to even average 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that year, the year they gave it to Wilt, I mean, to Bill
So they gave
Russell, that was the year that
Bill Russell. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Wilt
What a
scored
man.
100 points. He scored 100 points in a game back in between the according to this information, 1961-1962 season. He's the only player to score 100 points in a single game and was also remembered for averaging 50 points a game just on average, just like you just said, Najee, 50 points a game
He
on
stepped on the
average.
court. 50
So to
points
me,
guaranteed.
that tells me one thing, that he was playing amongst a bunch of inferior talent. And I mean, not no disrespect to the players that was around him. It was just like he was a man playing amongst boys to me. I mean, because if he's scoring points like that, you don't have anybody in the paint that could stop him. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Tell me something. Tell me something that I don't know about, right?
At least fouled him.
And you can't tell me you're not tired. There's gonna be games you're tired.
Yeah.
They said he was the ladies' man. So so imagine he's doing all his work at night and then still drop 50 the next game. Like bro, like he's a freaking engine. He's heavy.
So Najee,
he was taking care of the women at night and then coming in and balling during the daytime.
Exactly.
25,000 women out there.
Well, according to his statement that he slept with 20,000 women. Do you believe that, Isaiah?
That's crazy.
I mean, it's really difficult to believe that, man, unless he had some kind of playbook where he was jotting all that stuff down.
He just jotted them down. I got 3 tonight.
That's a good one, because I was just thinking along those lines that did he have a book that he was actually notating down in the book each person that he actually so-called slept with, according to him?
It's just like people write 1, 2, 3, 4, and then draw a cross line for the 5th one, and then keep going, man. It's just
your 5th one.
Add them up. I just couldn't imagine that, man.
That's a lot of women. I can just tell you that.
Just imagine this
just between dominating women and dominating the court.
Yes.
Yeah, but I always thought about something like this. You go to at least a Heat game at its peak when LeBron and Wade and Bosh was there. That arena held about anywhere from 22 to 25,000 people. And just imagine they were all women and Wilt slept with everybody in there, man.
Like,
just imagine
every woman in there.
That's crazy. Just think about that now. This is hard to believe, man. And I don't know how he fantasized about that, but boy, to say
if he slept with that many women, you can't tell me he don't have C's everywhere in this country.
Wow, that's man.
Exactly.
Unbelievable, bro.
Well, I was blessed enough. I was blessed enough to see Wilt Chamberlain one night at a night spot. This was way back when, before he passed away. He was standing there, and he was long, man. He was tall. I mean, you couldn't miss him because he was so freaking tall, and he had a beautiful woman with him that night. So, that might justify and say, okay, that he could be on to something, saying that he had that many women in his life, because that's an exceptional feat, if in fact that was true. You know what I'm saying?
It was true. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the next person, and let's say Shaquille O'Neal, one of the best centers to me in the history of the game, one of the most dominant centers in the history of the game, Mr. LSU himself, Shaquille O'Neal. Tell us why you chose Shaquille O'Neal at number 3.
Not only Shaq was by far one of my favorite centers. Like, everybody would tell you, he is the most dominant. He probably wasn't the most consistent when it came to injuries, and then as he got older, his numbers started to deploy quite a bit. But especially between the Magic years and the Lakers years, nobody was touching him, man. Like, he was pure dominance of him just slamming on anybody. Nobody, like when they played against the Nets back in 2002, they have a picture, all 5 guys on him, is trying to stop him, and he slammed it on them. I'm talking about point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. They all is literally pulling him down to try to stop him from scoring, and he just slammed it on him. Like, he had pure dominance of any he was a freak of nature, especially when he was with the Lakers. Like, no, Kobe numbers was great, but but Shaq numbers was historic against anybody in the finals those 3 years, 2000, 2001, and 2002, that nobody was stopping him. Like, you literally, the best thing they could do was foul him. But the thing is, when you foul, you can only foul so much. That was the best thing they could do was foul him, because his kryptonite was shooting free throws. That was the only thing that you could literally stop him doing. He was too strong. He was stronger than anybody that came across him. Like, he was just slamming it on anybody. He was the freak of nature.
Yeah. I agree, man.
Watching him, DC, we came up in the era of Daryl Dawkins, DC.
That's right.
And I thought Daryl Dawkins was a madhouse when he played. But when here comes Shaq, man, Shaq just blew you over, man. He just, if you better be stationary, because he's gonna freaking run you over if you move it and just drive you into the benches. Man, he was waiting for you to get in motion. Yeah, man. Yeah, and he just didn't care. He gonna bring down and he bring all of his lower body with him too, under the basket. So if you hanging around that basket nonchalantly, man, you're gonna be fine somewhere, because Shaq just came with everything, man. He very seldom dunked with one hand. He was so forceful with it. He would bring down the basket like Daryl Dawkins did. He just want to crush you when he get under the basket, man. And I think
they had to make new goals just to be able to hold up for him, because he was breaking too many of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shaq was a type of intimidating force where Shaq come under that basket, man. If you taking a charge, you basically setting yourself up for an ER visit, possibly. Yeah. Because if you got in his way, you were going to the ER. You were gonna go to the ER because they were gonna have to treat you for getting your chest crushed in, because he was that type of player, and he played with so much freaking energy. Back then, when he was with Orlando, he was, to me,
and it's no man-on-man defense. You got to guard him as a team.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a team effort to stop that man.
Yep. Shaq is one of the only centers I know that pretty much literally dogged out 3 different Boston Celtics centers over his career. I mean, I can name some of these centers from Boston, but Shaq had this thing where he really wanted to take it to Boston, especially those centers and the ones who tried to come up on him and tried to guard him in the paint toward that basket. They were going to get the business. I'm telling you, they got the business because he gave them the business. And that's how it worked with Shaq. So that was an excellent choice, Najee, at number 3. Let's move on to number 4. Let's go to Bill Russell.
So, all right. So so everybody knows Bill Russell has 11 rings. Do you know how many years he did? He got those 11 rings?
12 years, I think.
13. He played 13 seasons and he got 11 rings.
That's crazy.
When I tell you, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
His career averages is, if I'm not mistaken, was 15 and 22, 23 rebounds. But he also was a great shot blocker too.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at all his numbers, his biggest weakness was his field goal percentage. I think he probably has the lowest field goal percentage as a center, as a great center, because he was only shooting 44%. Now I'm gonna tell you how low 44% is. You see how everybody talk about Russell Westbrook?
Mm-hmm.
And they saying Westbrook, he takes too many elevated shots, he missed too much. Westbrook shoot 44% at 6'3". At 6'3". Bill Russell was 6'9", 6'10", but his average was 44%. So that means he did a lot of missing as a center.
True.
Now the reason why I have him is many championships he has. The reason why I put him under Kareem, Wilt, and Shaq is because out of 11 championships that he won, When you know when you get a Finals MVP, right? That means you were the best person in that series.
True.
How many Finals MVPs you think that Bill Russell have?
5.
You think he has 5? What about you, DC?
That's my guess. I'm just
I
guessing
would
now.
go as far as to say he had 7.
7? He has just as much as me, you, and Isaiah has.
Wow.
0?
0. He don't have
0.
1.
Wow.
He doesn't have 1.
Why is that? Why do you think he didn't get a Finals MVP? What do you think was
It shows he wasn't the top. It shows he wasn't the top dog in neither one of them things. You have to be the top dog to get a Finals MVP, and he don't have 1 out of 11 rings.
That's crazy.
But those championships speaks for itself, though.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
the championships trump everything else. To
I'm
me.
not belittling them at all. Because 11 and 13 years is phenomenal.
Yes, it is. And
big time phenomenal.
It goes to show you that you make your surrounding cast better. When you're on that court.
Exactly
What that tells you. You don't necessarily have to be the doggone star of the team, but if you can motivate and pass the ball and endure and speak all the goodness to your players and get them riled up and motivated and to win, that's all it is, man. And that's why you see a lot of these players hang around longer than you think they should. I mean, particularly even with my Miami Heat down here. Why do you think we held on to Haslam for so long? Haslam wasn't a guy who was contributing on the court, but his wisdom as a champion did it. And it kept the Heat held on to him for like 5 years without no productivity at all. So that's what they were like at all. Yep.
Yeah, it's just amazing how some of these players have thrived. And if you think about Russell, you only have 10 fingers. He's got 11 championships, right?
Yep.
The only person I would think that could come close to that in terms of sports would be Tom Brady. All the rings that Tom Brady has, because Tom Brady has quite a few himself. You know,
when it comes, he has 7.
Yeah, 7. I think he has 7 rings. So that's nothing. That's nothing to sneeze at. I can tell you, Tom Brady, and he earned every single one of them because, you know, in football, he made everybody around him much better as well. Let's move on to number 5, Mr. Hakeem Olajuwon. I was blessed enough to see Hakeem Olajuwon play for the Houston Cougars back in the national championship game against North Carolina State, which Houston was slated to win that game. There was no way possible that any of the bookies in Las Vegas or anyone gave North Carolina State a chance until those final seconds, and 3 seconds tick down, and then boom, Lorenzo Charles put the ball in the basket, and the game was over. So tell us a little bit about Hakeem Olajuwon, of what he did in the NBA to bring him to number 5.
Well, we all know that he has 2 rings. The 2 rings he did get is the 2 years that Jordan sat out, which was 94 and 95, back-to-back championships. But everybody knows he's probably the most skilled, sounding footwork center ever.
Yes,
because not only he was training other big men, younger big men, to you do more post moves or better footwork or whatever. He also did guards. He also did forwards. I've seen him. He trained Kobe, and Kobe's is freaking 7 inches shorter than him because his footwork alone was so phenomenal. He wasn't probably the best like leaper, or he probably wasn't the fastest, but his fundamentals was so crazy, man. His footwork was phenomenal. Like, his footwork was great. He is the best when it comes to anything on the court. He is the best center when it comes to footwork and fundamentals. They call Tim Duncan big fundamental, but no, I think personally that Olajuwon is the best fundamental center ever, even though Tim Duncan's power forward. But when you talk about fundamental, he's probably the best fundamental player ever that played.
I can agree with you on that one, Najee. Because he had a
and of course he was a great defender too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could agree with that as well, because one thing I could say about Hakeem Olajuwon, he wasn't afraid of any opposing center or any opposing team whatsoever. He was going to play his game. He played his game like it was down to a science. Like, he scripted his games out, that he knew exactly what he was going to do when he got in the game to play against these opposing teams. And that's what made him great in college. That's what made him great in the NBA. He's Nigerian of ancestry, and he's Nigerian, and he brings a lot of respectability to Nigeria for bringing players in to the NBA from Nigeria and other African countries. So we're really happy to see that he was able to accomplish such a big feat in the NBA, to gain the notoriety and to gain all the accolades that he gained, basically, So.
And then it's just how dominant we said Shaq was. He swept Shaq the first time Shaq ever been to the finals.
I remember that. I remember that game.
As great as
that series.
He swept him.
Yeah, I remember that
series,
series,
man.
And Shaq was just young, and Shaq didn't know how to deal with him at the time with Hakeem Olajuwon. It was just that like that experience against someone who was just coming up, through the ranks.
He took him to school, they think. He just took Shaq to school, man.
He did.
Well, that was the only center that ever got to Shaq. That was the only center that ever got to him.
Yep, that is so true. So let's talk about number 6, David Robinson from the Naval Academy, San Antonio Spurs. Tell us a little bit about David Robinson and how you arrived at David Robinson being number 6.
Oh, that boy, he was 7 foot that can defend. He was very consistent, and he can score. He can rebound. He actually was able to shoot the ball. And then when he paired up with Tim Duncan, it was almost unstoppable force when we talk about the front court. And guess what? Didn't he get 2 championships? He got one in 99 and 2003. In 2003, that was probably Kobe's first heartbreak, because they just ran through they just had a 3-peat. They was going for a 4-peat, and the Spurs dominated them. That was probably the first time my homeboy Kobe actually cried on camera, because he was just so disappointed that they couldn't get past them. Like, they dominated them that year, and they ended up playing the New Jersey Nets, and they ended up beating the New Jersey Nets and got they ring against them in 2003. Right, but when I say David Robinson, then what was his career top? He scored 70 points. That shows you that he was actually able to score.
Yeah, he was dominant.
He scored in numerous types of ways.
Yeah, during his time, even at the Naval Academy, super dominant at the Naval Academy as well. And to add extra accolades to David Robinson, he was a 2-time gold medalist in the Olympics. He played on that Olympics team, those Olympics teams.
Exactly.
And the thing that I like about David Robinson and the rest of the guys who played on those first inaugural Olympic teams, a lot of other countries was taking advantage of our college players. We had our college players playing against the professional leagues in Europe and all over the rest of the world. That changed as soon as they allowed the professional NBA players to start playing in the Olympics. I remember David Robinson and Jordan and all of those guys at Barkley. Them guys dominated those other teams. I remember a player from Russia, Arvydas Sabonis, and his son plays in the NBA right now. And I'm going to tell you, Sabonis dominated until those NBA players got there. And once those NBA players got there, no other team could handle them. Brazil couldn't handle them. Russia couldn't handle them. I mean, I could name a whole bunch of other teams off that could not do anything with these NBA players. So I'm so happy that they were able to do that, and David Robinson was able to be a part of that. And he just happened to be on a really good team with a really good coach, with Pop.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg Popovich, he took the talent and he just parlayed that talent into the next level of basketball. He was able to take those players, Tim Duncan, and take the Ginobili's and to take the Tony Parkers and the David Robinson
Sean Elliott.
And Sean Elliott. I remember Sean Elliott because Sean Elliott came out of Arizona, so I remember him very well. Let's move on to Nikola Jokic. Tell me a little bit about Nikola Jokic at number 7.
Now, I remember around like COVID time when he said that he was better than Shaq. Then, of course, you know, he's not from his country. So for him to say that and have not won or done anything in the league, I was like, man, I just swept on the road. I'm like, man, he's trying to bring up his brand. But the last 3-4 years, man, you can't tell me this man don't deserve to be on this list, man. What I'm talking about, he has how many MVPs? He has what, 3? If I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
if he has
I believe
3,
he has 3.
I know he has a bet. I think he has a back-to-back, and then he won the year before last. So he has 3. He has a Finals MVP. And then the numbers that he just showed this season, that he was top 5 in scoring, top 5 in rebounds, top 5 in assists. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was top 3 in assists. Then he was also top 5 in steals as a center. And he was shooting around 40% at the 3. Like, without Jokic, the Nuggets was nothing this season. Nothing. They showed the numbers every time he got off the court, how significantly much they dropped when he just went to go take a breather. When he went to go take a breather, do you just see that the whole game it just freaking deployed from there? Like, he has that type of dominance for his team that you can't tell. And not only the dominance, but the talent he has. Because for a person that can shoot, as big as he is on the court, you mean to tell me he can rebound, he can pass, and he can shoot? And then his IQ is top tier. It's up there with Chris Paul, with LeBron, and like he's a very smart player, and he doesn't have a high turnover ratio.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was after I saw him play, the times that I saw him play, for him to be able to do what you just explained that he do at 6'11", to be able to bring the ball up the court. And, you know, the thing about people underestimate, and I would say a lot of NBA teams and players underestimate Jokic because he looks tired. He looks out of shape. He doesn't look like he could go the distance of an entire NBA
person
game.
that's not in the best of shape, you can't stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's the only player that I can remember doing a 50-50-50. And a 50-50-50 means 50 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment for a center that's 6'11", that can run up and down the court and can shoot.
No, it's not 50-50. It was like, I know what you're talking about. It was like 50, 20, or 15 or something like that. 50,
something
50,
like
50
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ain't get no 50 assists. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks for correcting me because I saw those numbers and he was one of the few players to accomplish that feat, which was to me is exceptional by all means, you know.
And it was crazy too because I watched that game and they lost that game. I was pissed myself that he lost that game that you're talking about. He lost that game. After they lost on a game winner, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a 30-20-20. So thanks for correcting me. It was a 30-20-20. Yeah, okay. I just looked it up.
30-20-20. That's what it was.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exceptional for a man his size and for someone who could play at the level that Jokic plays at. To me, he's one of the best centers to me of all time, even now, and he's still playing the game. So just imagine what he has left in him. I mean, for what he can bring to the table over the next 5 to 6 to maybe even 10 years, right?
Since he plays with his IQ more than his ability.
Yeah.
That's what actually makes him
He's very IQ driven. Yeah. He's a very IQ driven player. And you could tell he understands what every player on the court should be doing. That's what I see when I watch him play, especially on his team. He understands where all of those guys should be, what they should be doing, and how the defenses are lining up against him in the Denver Nuggets. So that's definitely a good one at number 7. Let's go to number 8, Dwight Howard, ex-center for the Lakers, for the Orlando Magic. He's played in Taiwan. He's playing in Big Three basketball right now. Tell us a little bit about Dwight Howard.
Man, Dwight Howard was. I mean, I know you can't give the type of. I know you can't give the. Don't let Shaq hear that. But
well,
but the thing is, bro, when I tell you, I know you can't give as much physical contact in basketball like you do with football. But there's way how y'all describe Shante that you can't tell me Dwight Howard wasn't that in Orlando. Like, bro, you could not get a shot over him. You couldn't. He was blocking everything. He was the leading shot blocker like 3-4 years straight. He got the defensive player, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 times. Like he bro, he was supposed to be Shaq. The only thing is he really wasn't that great of a scorer because he didn't have that many post moves. See, Shaq was more of an interior offensive player, but he also gave you defense. Like the type of dominance he had on defense, that's what the dominance that Shaq had on offense. That's exactly what he was. So bro, when I tell you, Dwight Howard would not let anybody score on you. Like he forces you have to be able to have a jump shot because you wasn't getting into the paint.
Yeah,
and he topped it off getting the championship right before he probably never could get in the lead after that because they got it. He got it with the Lakers in the COVID year in 2020.
I remember.
So that definitely helped him.
It sure did.
The only time I really actually went against Dwight Howard is when he had to go against my Lakers in 2009, when we had to beat them down respectfully, 4-1. That's the only time I actually went against him because I was like, bro, like you did good, you beat LeBron when LeBron was beating you down, but guess what? You're not beating Kobe, sir. I'm sorry, Kobe's gonna take this from you. And that's when Kobe got his first ring without Shaq.
Looks like he played 18 seasons in the NBA from 2004 to 2022. Played for the Magic, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Hawks, the Hornets, the Wizards, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Then he went over to Taiwan and he played over in Taiwan, and now he's with Big Three basketball, which I still think he might have enough left to come back to the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's done.
Nah, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's done. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Well, he's already went to the Hall of Fame. Sure.
But,
yeah.
You know,
so he's done.
When I seen him play a couple of weeks ago, man, I think he's still better than several.
Sure.
A lot of centers.
A lot of centers that's in the NBA. I think Howard could compete at that level still. You know?
Intensity. Yep. He still has the intensity and the will to do it. I mean, I think the NBA, some of them teams should give him a shot because he's got a lot of energy. He's not out of shape. He's still in great shape.
He takes care of his body. Yeah.
He's always kept himself in shape. That's one good thing about him, that he stayed lean throughout his career.
But he not only kept himself in shape, but now that he also eats better because the Magic years, I didn't believe when he said the type of dieting he had over there. He said he was eating several Big Macs and milkshakes from McDonald's right before a game.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had a horrible diet it threw me off. I'm like, how you had a horrible diet playing the way you did with the Magic, bro? Normally, if you have a horrible diet like that, you're Zion Williams.
That's true.
I'm talking about right before the game. I ain't talking about you have a game at 8, so you ate like that at 2. No, he said he was doing that sometimes in a locker room, man.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but he was younger then. You can't pull stuff.
And you burning more fat as you're younger, you know?
Yeah, but Zion Williamson's young. Yeah, Zion Williamson's 24, 25.
Well, he's just destined to be overweight unless he control it. He has to put extra effort into his.
You won't go do a McDonald's and shake and all that right now.
You let Zion Williamson eat like that before a game. I mean, just the next few years and see how big and heavy he'll be. You know, because
you have to be right next to the toilet too when he's doing it. You have to have a toilet right next to him.
Absolutely. So let's move on to number 9, Moses Malone. Man, that was a good pick. Tell us a little bit about Moses Malone. I remember Moses Malone, and I have nothing but impressive things to say about Moses Malone.
He was a very efficient player. He got it. He averaged a double to like 21 and 10 or 21 and almost 21-11. He was that means he was a great force. Of course I didn't really watch him play, but of course I'm going by his sheer dominance in his own era. Then of course watching and seeing what he has. But he was a very efficient player. He made sure he got his double. He was, and like I said, he was efficient. Then he has a ring. So that of course that means he not only that he was efficient and he was helpful on his team, but then he was put in the right position to win.
So Isaiah, what do you think about Moses Malone?
I'm glad he didn't skip him or leave him out because he could have very well did that. I watched Moses Malone for several years, man, and he was a big contributor to their wins because you put him on the line, he's nailing his free throws. He knew how to shoot jumpers from the side. He defend well. He was up and down the court, man. I could see this guy right now in my mind running up and down that court. He wasn't lazy, man. He was getting down to defend. If you want a fast break, Moses Malone trying to chase you down and can prevent you from scoring. So yeah, I'm glad you put him on that list because there's so many others you can choose from. But to single him out and stick him on that top 10 is a great thing on your part, Najee, to include him in this top 10. I respect that list. Yeah.
I do too.
Yep.
So let me tell you a little bit about what I remember about Moses Malone. Moses Malone used to play for the Washington Wizards. It was the best trade the Philadelphia 76ers had ever made in the history of the franchise to me, because once Philadelphia, secured Moses Malone was a terror. Moses Malone dogged Kareem out a couple times in finals when the 76ers faced off. The 76ers had Daryl Dawkins. They had Dr. J, and they had Maurice Cheeks, Mo Cheeks, and all those guys on that team. And they took it to the Lakers. At least one particular series in finals, they took it to the Lakers, and Moses Malone was one of the most dominant players in the game against the Lakers, because we talked about Kareem earlier. It was very difficult to defend that sky hook because he was so long and tall, but Moses Malone was able to keep him out of the paint, or he forced him out a little bit where he got his timing off, and Kareem just couldn't get a good rhythm going, at least at that time, So I have to agree with Isaiah Najee. This was a superb pick at number 9. Number 10, final, Patrick Ewing. How did you arrive at Patrick Ewing at number 10? Tell us a little bit about what made you put him at number 10.
Now, number 10, I was very, very. Yeah, I think I struggled with that number more than any of the numbers I had on there, because I really want to put Yao Ming in there too, because I was like, Yao Ming was a great player. I watched him from when he first started to when he got a little older, and then he just body couldn't hold up because he started to continue having foot problems, and you're gonna have that at his size because he was like 7'5" and he was like 320, 330.
Right.
So, I mean, with that size, that pounding on the court every day, your body just not made for that, especially at that size. But the thing is, Patrick Ewing also, did he go to the finals? Yes, he did. He was one of the most dominant centers in the Eastern Conference. And
right.
He battled against Pippen and Jordan quite a bit in the East. I mean, it's kind of hard to leave him out, man. And just look at his numbers. His numbers speaks for itself too. He was a very consistent player. And he was the Knicks' best player. He was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't.
And of course, he played quite a few years. That's the only reason why I really couldn't put Yao Ming on that, because not only he didn't go too far in the playoffs, but his career was cut short. So Patrick Ewing, you got it.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing, I remember his Georgetown years when he was on those championship Georgetown teams. They were almost nearly invincible to me, with John Thompson being the coach and all of those surrounding players with Patrick Ewing. They had an all-star team with Georgetown, and all the players that went to the NBA and played in the NBA from Georgetown. Patrick Ewing stuck out the most. He played for New York for a long time, and he was able to get them to the finals. They just couldn't get to the promised land once they got there because of who they were playing. But, you know,
Yeah.
I would say this is an excellent pick as well, you know.
And it was an absolute great pick. And to not leave him off, because Patrick Ewing actually is, he's responsible for guys like Mourning, because he's taught Mourning.
Yep.
He
Yes.
used to go back to the school and help Mourning out with his game, his blocking and all this type of stuff. And it really was a testament of what good player he was, and as a teammate in the form of alumni of Georgetown, because he used to go back and help John Thompson with all the new guys coming in, after he left there, man. And then, of course,
He's also part of
when
the
he
dream
got in the
team.
NBA, I used to see them hanging out together. This was even after they all got into professional basketball. I used to watch him come over to South Beach. He would have Mourning and Natembe Natombo and all those guys used to hang out with him, man. And it was amazing to see and how these guys respect him as a player and as a leader, because that's what it was. It was all about leadership, man. And you see that as him as being a coach. I mean, you could be a good player, but to be able to lead, that means you got people who's willing to buy into your philosophy or whatever it is, whether it's coaching or being a man or teaching people just straight up, but conducting yourself as a man or a professional. And that's what Patrick Ewing is really, really good at. I mean, you don't never hear the guy out of a job.
No, he's always been on somebody's staff. And now, like you were saying, coaching is, to me, is a natural thing for Patrick Ewing, because Patrick Ewing gave back even before he became a coach.
All the time. You remember he was coaching under Van Gundy for years.
I remember that. Yes.
Yep.
And if you look at some of the players that played with him, the David Wingates of the world, the Horace Broadnaxes of the world, the Reggie Williams of the world, man, that 1983-84 team was just phenomenal, the way they played, because they had to play in that Big East. They had to go through that gauntlet with Syracuse. They had to go through that gauntlet with St. John's and Mark Jackson and those type of things. And they had to go through the Villanovas and stuff back then. So they were able to, attain a lot of success because of Patrick Ewing. And then they had an upstanding coach, John Thompson, who, bless his heart, bless his soul, rest in peace. John Thompson, to me, was by far one of the best college basketball coaches in the history of the sport, So let's grade this thing, and we'll get ready to close it out. I'm going to start with you, Isaiah. What type of grade would you give Najee for his list of centers of GOAT all-time greats?
Well, I said that it was a superb list, man. I really can't critique it in any fashion at all. I would love to have seen Mourning on there, but of course, that just, if you was going to add the top 20 all time, you can start digging into these other guys, man. But listen, I give you an A+, man. It was spot on. I give you A+. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and give my man Najee my grade on it. It looks like from 1 to 10, everything lined up for me, and I have to, concur with Isaiah that Mourning would have fit in, especially in a top 20 if we were doing a top 20. I have you with an A+, man. I can't go below an A+. So you did really good on this list. You did a great job breaking down each particular person that you picked for, 1 to 10 to me. So how do you feel about this list? And, tell us a little bit about what you think about everything.
Well, of course, not only I do my homework, but then I'm like basketball. I love basketball, man. This is what I do, bro. I love basketball. So when it comes to, that's why I can't even be biased when it comes to old and young, because you got different eras, you got different style of play, and then you got, of course, accolades, stats, and personal accomplishments. So of course I gotta accommodate all that. Like I just put Jokic in the top 10, and he's 30 years old, because you got to sit there and acknowledge what he's doing at his size and what he's doing, bro. Like,
right.
It's players that play 15, 20 years and they don't have nothing. Lonzo Mourning, as great as Lonzo Mourning was, just like you mentioned, he has nowhere near the accolades Jokic has. None. He don't have the talent that now he was way better defender. But when you talk about every other ounce of his game, he's not touching Jokic, bro.
I agree.
Well, I can kind of defend Mourning on that. Mourning had a kidney disease during some of the.
It slowed him down in his career, right?
Slowed him down, yeah, especially
Yeah.
as he got older. Yeah, I remember that.
Go to him at that point. Now he was great and all of that, but in terms of trying to tip for tat, that's the only reason why Mourning ain't in there. Because I'm gonna tell you flat out, and if it wasn't for Mourning, Mourning is the one that started the Miami Heat winning championships. Because even when Shaq was here, Mourning was the one coming there and cleaning all that stuff up and winning those championships for us. It wasn't a Shaq,
especially when he was getting foul trouble.
He was there, man. So now I can see you not putting him in the top 10, but don't leave him out at all. Just to say this guy's stats was better than his when he was sick part of the time. Yeah.
I would say I would second to that, and I'll say just this. And when Mourning was at Charlotte, because Charlotte was the team that drafted him, it looks as though Miami made it was a really, really good trade to get Mourning down to Miami. Miami became a franchise where they were an expansion franchise, because when I was growing up in Miami, we didn't have basketball, and then they became who they were. And then once they got Mourning set them on course to build toward a championship, and they were able to get a championship. And that, to me, the Heat organization has to thank Mourning, and they do, because he's high up in the front office, which he's the vice president of
all the time.
They have to thank him for his contributions to the Heat organization overall, because he's another ex-Georgetown player, and Georgetown was putting out nothing but studs back then. And once he got drafted for Charlotte, and then for Charlotte to trade him to the Miami Heat, that only set Miami on a course for historical success, not just a temporary success. It set them on course for what LeBron and Wade and, Bosh and all of them was doing. If it wasn't for Mourning, they wouldn't be there, as far as I'm concerned.
Nope.
So let's close this thing out. One thing I want to say, gentlemen, this has been an epic, classic episode, mainly because of Najee's list of centers. We talked a little bit about Lawrence Taylor, who was, to me, is the greatest of all time in defenders in the history of the NFL. We glad you guys rocked with us today as viewers. I mean, we were very happy to see that you joined us in the family, because we consider every viewer family, and we want you here. We want you to be here. We want you to give us some input. Like I say again, I'm going to send some shouts out to Tony Martinez. He actually, had the idea to help us get to the Lawrence Taylor topic, because we want you to give us some topic ideas. And if you got ideas, send them to us. We'll talk about them. We'll give our 2 cents on them. We want your 2 cents on them, and we want to meet up together. Everything is respectful. As long as things are good, we good. So I'm going to close this thing out. Hit that subscribe button. We're over at Twitch TV now. So come over to Twitch. Holla at us over there. We're happy to be over there. And Twitch actually welcomed us in. I mean, I had someone from Twitch reach out to us to ask us to come over to Twitch. So we're happy to be there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button, that thumbs up. And give us a thumbs up again, and I'm going to have Isaiah close it out.
What an amazing show, man. I really enjoyed it, going one player to the next on a top 10 list of centers with Najee's list. But most important at all, man, I want to encourage men to continue to look out for yourself. I mean, everybody really, but men, to go get your checkups, man. I just lost a good friend of mine, and he had a heart attack over, last week or so, and passed away with a beautiful family. He was just genuine, sweet guy, and a loving husband and father. And then I'm actually torn about it. It's kind of difficult to do this show, knowing that, a beautiful soul has been lost. And, Cecil Roll was his name. His beautiful wife and kids, and his wife is a principal of school, and then they been giving back, all my adult life. I've watched them give back to the community, give back to the needy, give back to unfortunate folks, and then to lose him, man, it's devastating to get that news yesterday, and it's difficult for me to maintain my own thing. So, yeah. So I really, really want to send a condolence out to his family. So you guys, we're gonna keep his family in prayer, and hopefully, they'll kind of push this thing and let God be the guide for the whole transition of the passing of their loved one. So that's how I feel about it. You guys, Najee, finish it up and close us out.
Yeah, just like I say all the time, man, you gotta love your loved one, man, because like I tell you, you can see somebody today, and then it can be the same day, and they'll be gone, bro. Like I told you that I lost, a friend of mine, February 2nd. I didn't find out until right before I went on my family vacation, and then it. So it was between me go to see my friend the last time, or a family reunion. And then guess what? I always told you I put family first. As much as I wanted to see her for the last time, I couldn't turn family down. I just couldn't. So that's what I'm saying. Just love God because He gonna love you, and just try to live life the best way you can, man.
Absolutely. You guys couldn't have summed it up any better than what you did. We send our condolences to Cecil Roll and his family. We really hope that, Cecil was resting in a better place, but, he was a good dude. I actually knew about him through Isaiah over 30 years ago. So Cecil was an upstanding guy. And anything that, he did, he helped other people. So we definitely send our warmest condolences to his family. And I can only coattail on what Isaiah said about getting checkups, especially for men and especially for African-American men with prostate. Get your prostate checked up. Get your blood work at least done twice a year. If you're doing blood work and get that blood work, usually they can see a lot of stuff in blood work, and it can, if you can catch it early, it gives you a better chance of surviving anything that might happen to you, genetically or anything else. So we'll close this show out. Thank you for joining the DC Stewart Show podcast live stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, and make sure you do that before you can take care of others. Peace, love, and prosperity. Take it easy.
You've reached the end of another episode of the DC Stewart Sports Talk Podcast. Be sure to connect with us at Facebook and Twitter.com. Your voice is important, so head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Catch our next episode.